Hello, this is the RPG Crawler, and welcome to another Indie Game Friday, where each week I take a look at an independent role-playing game. This week I'm taking a look at a turn-based strategy RPG called Alvora Tactics. Developed and published by Rad Codex, it was released on Steam on June 1st, 2017, and is available for $9.99 US as of this recording. Using the same engine and setting as Voidspire Tactics, another strategy RPG released back in 2015, Alvora Tactics combines elements and inspiration from a few different RPGs into a fairly complex little strategy dungeon crawler. It was actually much more complex than my relatively brief few hours with it could capture, but hopefully even this basic synopsis should tell you whether this is the game for you or not. You start the game by creating 4 customized characters, basically your first 4 soldiers, setting their appearance, name, and picking their race from among several different fantasy races native to the setting. And then it starts with an opening cutscene, telling of a great serpent Alvora, which had been in the skies and occasionally swooped down to devour things. One of these things it had devoured in the past was some sort of golden palace. Now, it has apparently died, and its body crashed into some cliffside, and adventurers are now setting out on expeditions into the very beast itself to try to recover the lost treasures. The game itself has 3 main sections: exploration, combat, and town actions. Each expedition starts with an exploration phase, where your group moves into a series of randomly generated levels. In exploration mode, your party moves about and interacts with the environment. Coming towards the edge of a map moves you off to the next one, while certain terrain objects are either automatically interacted with, such as jumping over puddles or gaps, or require some action. For instance, some obstructions and containers can be interacted with by double-clicking on them. Some items can be pushed in a certain direction until they collide with something, and some may simply be attacked and destroyed. Enemies are visible on the map, and coming near them can start a combat encounter. Combat is on an initiative timer, with each character and enemy ordered in the initiative row. Performing an action and movement adds a certain amount to the character's timer, and places them further back in the initiative order. Initiative is then counted down until the next person or creature's turn to act comes up. This isn't completely turn-based, since a quick character using a quick action tends to have less added to their initiative timer than others, but it's relatively close. Each character may take 1 action and may move once per turn. Movement is limited by the character's movement points and takes place on a grid. At the end of their turn, the character then selects a facing. Attacks from the sides and the rear can cause additional damage, so it's helpful to consider this at the end of each turn. Each character can also wield up to 2 weapons, 1 on each hand, although some require 2 hands to use at all. Each weapon has a certain attack pattern and range, and additional skills that can be unlocked with experience can grant additional attacks and effect types, each with their own pattern. Spells are likewise selected and cast in a similar manner, although with spellcasting it may take a few counts of initiative for the spell to actually go off. After each combat, characters receive experience in their particular classes. A character may select from their unlocked classes at any time, including 3 primary ones, Warrior, Scholar, and Scout, and a number of unlockable ones. Each class has a number of primary and passive skills that can be unlocked with experience. During gameplay, the player may pay to unlock certain character classes for particular characters, find masks that unlock them for all of their characters, and reach certain experience thresholds which may unlock certain classes for just the one character. A character may have 1 primary and 1 secondary class at any point. If a character is knocked out during combat, their max hit points are reduced. Between expeditions, the player can leave those injured characters back in town to rest, which will allow them to recover their maximum hit points. In fact, quite a lot can be done in town. There's a number of buildings, each of which offers its own special services. The barracks can store and eventually allow the player to hire more soldiers. The tavern offers a few things for sale, as well as various storyline issues. The training ground allows for training and unlocking of certain character classes. The blacksmith allows purchase of weapons and armor, and so forth. Some of these buildings are upgradable. For instance, discovering certain types of plans in the dungeon may allow the blacksmith to produce certain types of weapons, while upgrading the smith directly will allow the smith to sell better quality material. Each expedition into the dungeon offers a randomized layout, and the dungeon may be exited at any time. This can be useful, especially in the beginning, to moderate how far you go in at any time, largely because the difficulty seems to be pretty impressive beyond a certain point. While I had some difficulty progressing fast enough to really take a look at the various subsystems in this game, I can say that it didn't really seem unfair. Especially with the ability to retreat to town and recover, it never feels as if you're really forced to press on, although some of the ambushes I encountered did wipe me out, and were a little bit overwhelming at the time that I encountered them. Graphically, the game is one of those low-res retro sprite-style games, but it doesn't mimic any one era, and with the sprites as colorful and clear as they are, I don't believe this presents an issue. The one thing that I might warn as a player is to be certain that you're sufficiently differ the looks of your characters so that they are easy to pick out of the lineup. The music is alright, nothing really poppy or standout, and while that limits my ability to pick out anything I could mention as really memorable about it, it also means that it was in no way annoying during my gameplay. So what do I think about this game? It's a nice mix of your classic challenging dungeon crawler and a tactical RPG, somewhat reminiscent of the Final Fantasy Tactics series, with its job system-like class system, turn-based combat, all combined with a firm but fair difficulty curve and some degree of randomization. If you're a fan of either straight-up dungeon crawlers or fantasy tactical games, you'll probably find something to like in Alvora Tactics. It's a pretty competent example of the genre, and I can recommend it to most people who are into that sort of thing. And on that note, I'll wrap it up here. This has been the RPG Crawler with Indie Game Friday. If you like what you've seen, remember to leave a like, comment if you've got feedback, and subscribe for more RPG content. If you'd like to help support this channel, feel free to take a look at my Patreon at patreon.com/rpgcrawler. Until next time, take care and goodbye.